How does focal length affect Photoshop panorama stitching? Imagine trying to piece together a giant puzzle where each piece is a photograph. The size and shape of those pieces can make a big difference in how smoothly the puzzle comes together. That's what focal length does in panorama stitching. It influences how your images blend and align in Adobe Photoshop. Focal length is the distance between the lens and the image sensor when the subject is in focus. It's measured in millimeters and determines how much of the scene you see and how big it appears. Short focal lengths, like 14 to 24 millimeters, are considered wide-angle lenses. They capture a broad view but tend to introduce more distortion, especially near the edges. This distortion can make stitching trickier because Photoshop has to correct for curved lines and warped features. Longer focal lengths, like 40 millimeters and above, are telephoto lenses. They show a narrower slice of the scene but with less distortion. This makes it easier for Photoshop to align images because the perspective remains more consistent across shots. When working with wide-angle images, the projection mode in Photoshop's Photomerge tool often needs to be set to cylindrical. This helps manage the distortion by projecting the images onto a curved surface. For telephoto shots, spherical projection is usually better since the images have less warping and fit well onto a sphere. Another thing to consider is overlap. Wide-angle lenses cover more of the scene in each shot, so you need less overlap, maybe around 20 to 30%. But because of the distortion, you need to make sure there's enough overlap to help Photoshop align everything properly. With telephoto lenses, more overlap, around 50 to 80%, is necessary because each shot captures a smaller part of the scene, making accurate alignment more challenging. Parallax errors are also affected by focal length. These happen when the camera rotates around a point other than the lens's nodal point, causing misalignment especially in foreground objects. Longer focal lengths magnify this issue, so using a panoramic tripod head or a nodal slide can help keep the camera rotation centered and reduce errors. In terms of detail, longer focal lengths tend to capture less of the scene but with more clarity and resolution in distant objects. Wide-angle panoramas give you a sweeping view but might sacrifice some sharpness and detail because of lens characteristics. When shooting for panoramas, keeping the focal length consistent is key. Lock it in to avoid perspective shifts. Turn off in-camera distortion corrections so Photoshop can handle the adjustments more smoothly. Choosing the right projection mode in Photoshop based on your lens, cylindrical for wide-angle, spherical for telephoto, will make a big difference. Also, using a tripod with a panoramic head helps keep everything aligned and reduces parallax. Understanding how focal length influences panorama stitching helps you plan your shots better and choose the right settings. It makes the post-processing in Photoshop more straightforward and results in cleaner, more professional-looking panoramas. This knowledge is a big step toward mastering advanced panorama techniques in Adobe software.